Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about European Union's new copyright law. Now coming to the current affairs, the European Union's Parliament has recently passed a new copyright directive. So we will see what is the new directive given by the European Union Parliament. But before we begin, this is our channel StudyIQ and we are providing pen drive courses for various competitive examinations including SSC and bank courses, UPSC optionals, SSC JE courses, teaching examination, railway examinations, defense examinations, RBI grade B, NABARD grade A, UGC NET, UPSC Civil Services Examination, for various state PSCs, for CLAT exams and for also various professional courses. You can visit our website www.studyiq.com for more details, or you can call to any of these numbers for more information. Now let us first understand what are the directives of the European Union's Parliament. The directives given by the European Union's Parliament comprises of a set of measures that is designed to reform the way copyright works are held in European Union. So it is measures that tries to reform the rules and regulations that regulate the copyright works in the European Union. Now the objective of the directives is to protect creativity in the digital age. So this objective was stated by the European Commission and their aim is to protect creativity. So main aim is protection of creativity in the digital age. So in the digital age there are chances of fraud, misuse, etc. So creativity needs to be protected and that is the major objective of the directives given by the European Union Parliament. Now let us understand what are the reasons for making such changes or what are the factors that have triggered these changes in the European Union. First of all, the lawmakers in European Union have become concerned about what is being uploaded and what is shared on the internet platforms in the recent times. So, the concerns were because there were a large number of fake news that were spreading through the internet platforms. And the fake news was also supplemented by various psychological profiling of the users in order to influence their behavior. An example is the Cambridge Analytica scandal. So, such type of fake news being spread over the internet platforms and also psychological profiling of the users to influence their behavior including their voting patterns were the main reason that triggered such changes in European Union. And also this was supplemented by violent, harmful content being spread on the internet platforms such as YouTube, and these content being violent and harmful, they were targeting the vulnerable communities especially like the children, women, etc. So these harmful or violent content which were spreading over the internet platforms targeted mainly on the vulnerable communities or vulnerable categories like the children and the women, which also raised concern over this issue. And moreover, the tech companies like the Google or the Facebook, they do not take the responsibility for the damages caused by the content that they disseminate. So the entire responsibility was on the government or the users, but the tech companies like Google or Facebook, they were not ready to take up the responsibility of the damages caused by the content that was disseminated through these platforms. And this concerns were challenged on multiple global level platforms and rights forums. But the companies like Facebook and the Google, they did not express any willingness to filter such contents. So even though this issue was challenged on multiple platforms, global legal platforms, many rights forums, etc., these companies were not willing to filter such contents. So from that, the intention of the companies was clear. So they were focusing only on the revenue side. So these tech companies had adopted a revenue focused approach. And this revenue focused approach and not taking up the responsibility for the content that they disseminate had made or driven the lawmakers in order to make strict regulations in European Union. Now let us understand what are the controversial provisions in the new guidelines or directives provided by the European Union Parliament. So among the reforms, Article 11 and Article 13 seems to be controversial. Now let us understand what are these two articles. Now Article 11 under the directive says that the search engines, for example, Google is a search engine, and there are news curation platforms, for example the Google News. So such platforms needs to pay to use the links from news websites. So if they need to use any link from the news websites, they need to pay money for that. That is Article 11. Now coming to Article 13. Article 13 deals with how online content sharing services should deal with content for which someone holds a copyright. So this is regarding the copyright issues. Now, if any tech company or any online platform, for example Google or Facebook, if they share the content for which someone holds a copyright, how to deal with it. Now, what is the provision under Article 13? The company which uses the content for which someone is holding a copyright, the company should get permission from the copyright holder. For example, YouTube is using a content for which someone else has the copyright. So YouTube has to get the permission from the person who holds the copyrights for the content uploaded. And if the company, YouTube, is not able to get the permission from the person who holds the copyright, then YouTube can be penalized for all non-copyrighted content appearing on the platform. And these provisions or the directives are applicable to almost all the services. Now the exceptions are that those tech companies who are less than 3 years old in European Union, or those who have an annual turnover of less than $11.2 million are exempted from these directives. And it also covers most services that help people to surf or get some data and content. So these two articles are the controversial articles. Now let us understand who all are exempted from this, or which all platforms are exempted. The first one is online encyclopedia. Online encyclopedia is exempted because they do not target the profits. But Wikipedia, they target profit. Here they do not target profit, and therefore online encyclopedia, if they do not target profit, they are exempted from it. Now second exemption is given to open source software development platforms. Third, cloud storage services. Fourth one, online marketplaces. Fifth one is communication services. So except these 5 categories, all other categories will have to follow the directives of the European Union Parliament. Now coming to the implications of the directives given by the European Union Parliament with regard to the new copyright law. So from the user's angle, the implication is twofold. On one side, it is favorable for the users, and it also bears certain negative aspects. Let us understand what are they. Now coming to the favorable aspects, these directives or guidelines given by the European Union Parliament will strengthen Europe's creative industries. Now the creative industries in Europe contribute towards 11.65 million jobs in Europe, and they also generate 6.8% of the GDP in Europe. So 6.8% of GDP in Europe accounts for 9,15,000 million euros per year. So the GDP contribution of creative industries to GDP is very high, and the rate of employment it generates is also very high. So this is favorable for the Europe's creative industries because Article 13 of the directive deals with copyright content. Now let us take an example. For example, a musician. These new rules will help a musician in the digital age to gain their fair share of royalties and rights from the technology companies. Earlier, the companies have been using the content at will and free of cost. Now, Article 13 mandates the tech companies to get the permission of the holder of the copyright. So, the creative industries, which include musicians or other artists, can claim for their fair share of royalties and rights from the technology companies. So, in this way, this is helpful for the creative industries. Now, coming to the negatives. For the users, their choice of the content comes down and the content undergoes filtration. So, the original content or the content of their choice may not be available to the user. So, this will curtail the freedom of choice for the users, and in this digital era, curtailing the freedom of choice would not be acceptable. Now let us understand what can be the global ramifications of this. Now the European Union Parliament has passed the legislation or the directives in this regard. So Europe's approach in dealing with user data and online privacy has caught the attention of the policymakers and rights activists across the globe. So there is a chance that other countries can also follow the same. So this copyright directive given by the European Union can trigger a copyright debate or a global debate over this matter, and this can have a larger impact on many other countries on the directives given by those countries with regard to the use of such internet platforms or the use of copyright content by such tech companies. So there is definitely going to be an impact on other countries as well, especially the developing countries. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and you can also follow my Facebook page for more updates of my videos, and please write to me at joyce.studyiq@gmail.com for any of your queries or for any of your suggestions. Thank you.